All right, we are Uber, think locally, act globally. My name is Jackie.
I'm Kyra.
I'm Connor.
Hi, I'm Austin.
I'm Josie.
And to start off, we have a short little video that explains what our presentation will be about and what our company is about.
Okay, here we go, guys. Ready? Cinturones, por favor. Gracias. Opportunity is everywhere. It's a door. It's doing a lot of kicking now. Waiting to be opened. Whatever your ambition, drive, whatever you're chasing, opportunity is everywhere. All you have to do to find it is get out here.
All right, so we have the executive summary. Uber is an online ride-sharing app that was founded in 2009 and has since become a popular, well-known company throughout America and the 56 other countries that it's present in. The objective of our analysis on the company Uber was to further our knowledge on why and how they've become so successful from the start up until today, and what innovations, if implemented correctly, could bring them success. We approached this by studying 5 different data points. We studied the company's history, their environmental analysis, the marketing objectives and performance, the 4 Ps, and the SWOT analysis. Knowing how Uber operates, what their goals are, and how they implement new ideas will allow us to understand what drives the company's success and what doesn't. Uber offers wonderful services and products. They've shown a commitment to their customers while simultaneously building up their brand image and loyalty. And if ran right, this company can have big things for their future. After analyzing our research, our group came up with an idea that if they correctly execute the plan, it could increase Uber's profit margins and make the lives of small-town families easier. The growth rate for Uber has always been something that they've been trying to improve. And while they have grown, it's time to get bigger. Expanding into small towns such as Marquette, Michigan could be the right move for them regarding their financial situation and the constant goal of expanding. Overall, Uber is an excellent example of how you can start a company from the ground up and get to a level of success that profits not only the company, but the customers themselves. And the company's business model has been proven to be extremely effective and is a great option for anybody looking to start up their own company.
So we are going to begin with a brief history of our company. Uber began in San Francisco in 2009 and was founded by Garrett Camp and Travis Kalanick. Next slide, please. Uber became popular due to the inconvenience of owning a car in growing urban settings, combined with the necessity of travel in these urban settings. According to this graph, which defines the growth of the urban and rural populations over time, as well as some predicted growth, where the urban meets the rural population is approximately 2007 to 2009, and Uber began in 2009. What this demonstrates is that Garrett Camp and Travis Kalanick decided to capitalize on this growth in urban population and demand for the service and create Uber. Next slide, please. Uber uses the two-sided marketplace business model, and its goal is to make it easy for 2 sides of a transaction to connect. Next slide, please. This business model connects drivers and riders and is what Uber currently uses today. As the graphic demonstrates, when a third party is removed via the two-sided marketplace, the owner of the platform, which in this case would be Uber, collects a fee from both sides of the transaction. Next slide. So Uber is losing money. In 2017, demonstrated by this graphic, Uber's Q3 losses equated to $1.5 billion. Based on this consistent negative growth, a company like Uber cannot be sustained. Next slide. And we are going to talk about why Uber is losing money. So Uber is losing money due to its inability in keeping up supply, which are its drivers, and demand, which are its riders. Next slide. So a majority of this is because of the #DeleteUber campaign. A long list of scandals led to the Delete Uber movement. In January of 2017, President Trump announced his travel ban, and the Delete Uber movement took social media by storm. Taxi drivers at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York went on strike. However, Uber continued its services at the airport. This move was met with severe backlash, and Uber was incriminated of taking advantage of the taxi strike and aligning its support with the travel ban. Within days of the Delete Uber movement spreading across a variety of social media platforms, hundreds of thousands of customers deleted the app and deactivated their accounts. In the same month, former employee Susan Fowler announced that she was sexually harassed during her time with the company. Travis Kalanick has been questioned in the past for his questionable means of getting to a goal, going by the motto, win at all costs. This series of scandals led to Kalanick resigning from the company, and Uber hired many new staff in hopes of employing new marketing techniques to restore their image and did not succeed, which takes us into today. Slide.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the environmental analysis. Uber has been known to be one of the fastest growing taxi companies in the world. With the uprising occurring so fast, so many small and large changes have been made since the company first was founded in 2009. So for such a largely known company, the external environmental forces are through the roof. In relation to the competitive forces, there's a threat of substitution, product and brand competitors, considering about the service quality of that Uber applies. The potential threats coming from the transportation industry, including public transportations, taxis, private cars, etc., are low because of the cost efficiency and user-friendly designing. Uber has a significant brand competitor in the company Lyft. Although it is not a large of a company, they have the exact same service as Uber. Lyft was founded in 2012, so they still have more time to grow to compete with Uber. The industry that Uber operates under is the sharing economy. It means that this economy is based on sharing physical and intellectual resources. In this case, Uber hires drivers to respond to customers and drive them to a location. It's often deemed cheaper than taxis and easier to schedule an appointment. Global economic forces are slightly different than the North American economy, as many other countries have banned Uber due to the competition they have with taxis. This affects income distribution since Uber is a cheaper service. Despite the success that Uber's had in the US and Canada, the company has had to put in extra work across global markets. According to Stephen McBride of Forbes magazine, Uber can't keep up with cutthroat competition overseas. This explains how the culture of Europe is different than the North American culture. Uber is constantly getting booted out of cities because of European-oriented companies. The most present environmental factor for Uber is technological force, which seems pretty obvious since it's a social media app. Uber has taken new measures to ensure that they're progressing in a helpful environmental way by offering Uber Pool, where you can catch a ride with people stopping at other destinations. Uber faces lots of controversy in regard to the online paycheck distribution to drivers. An article by Alex Roosevelt of Globe and Mail magazine states that Uber claims it has a hands-off relationship with drivers, but it actually collects many details on this behavior, manages them with algorithms and experiments on their pay. And all of the ways that drivers are subject to manipulation and experimentation by neutral algorithms, we can see how the consumers can be taken advantage of too. This assumes that Uber is using online fees to take advantage, thereby paying drivers almost the same as minimum wage in the US. Uber's sociological forces are a major contributor in the modern society. Uber is considered a very diverse workforce, as many Uber drivers are immigrants or from minority groups. The social media app allows customers to rate their driver and share short responses on how the rides went so that future customers are able to see what type of person they're getting in the car with. International revenue factors are a large part of Uber's success. One of the biggest international downfalls is that they still have strong competition with cities that are very highly attached to taxis and are not willing to allow new groups of taxi customers in. Uber's popularity continues to grow. Even when the prices rise, it's still competitive with other taxi companies. Consumers enjoy using the app to book rides and may even choose it over public transportation because of the experience. But how much or how little the company hurts the environment requires more investigation. Next slide.
All right, I'll be talking about Uber's marketing objectives and performance and their marketing mix. Uber's marketing objectives have diversified over time from one goal to provide a dependable and readily available transport service to offering multiple differing services with their own goals. Uber still offers a dependable and readily available service, however. Their transportation services are just much more accessible for everyone, as their current marketing objective is to revolutionize the way people move. Additions to Uber's transportation product line like Uber Pool allows riders to share an Uber for more affordable prices, and Uber WAV, which provides wheelchair accessible vehicles to those who need it. Uber has also entered into the food delivery market with their product Uber Eats. Uber Eats' goal is to transform the way people enjoy food. To accomplish this goal, Uber Eats uses the same technology that allows people to commute through cities, but instead of transporting people, they transport food. Uber's target market are people in need of transportation who want convenient, enjoyable, and a unique experience. Uber is used mainly by people between the ages of 16 to 34, as they account to 65% of all rides in the US, and 94% of all rides occur in urban or suburban locations. A way of targeting the younger population is Uber's use of digital marketing. Uber has adopted a very strong following on social media sites such as Instagram. Uber has 1.4 million Instagram followers on their and on their Facebook, they have amassed 22 million likes. This type of marketing appeals to their younger urban and suburban demographic. Uber is also very focused on sustainability and has implemented many short-term and long-term policies and objectives to improve our quality of life. One of these initiatives is to become a fully zero-emission platform by the year 2040. To do this, they'll have set out 4 key actions. Expand Uber Green to make it easier for riders to choose to travel in hybrids or EVs. Commit $800 million in resources to help hundreds of thousands of drivers transition to EVs by the year 2025. And invest in our multimodal network, which is like scooters and other terms of transportation, to promote sustainable alternatives to personal cars. And finally, to be transparent and accountable to the public while promoting and executing these objectives. Next slide, please. Now, Uber's marketing mix. 15 years ago, the product Uber would not have existed. Uber relies heavily on smartphones and technology in order for its product to be successful. It is a remarkably unique and uncommon product that has a very little in the way of tangible, measurable components. Uber does not own any of their cars that they use in their everyday transactions. The cars are owned by the drivers that Uber contracts out. Uber's intangibles make up for their lack of tangibles, however, as Uber compiles massive amounts of data regarding their customers' behaviors and tendencies. Although Uber is most closely associated with providing ride services, like I said before, it has expanded into other services as well. Uber Eats, the food delivery service that uses similar technology as Uber's transportation app. This app demonstrates that Uber is diversifying into new markets while using one of their core competencies, their advanced network of drivers and technology, to enable them to gain a competitive edge over other firms. Uber offers its products mainly through smartphone apps. It is a quick and convenient method that allows people to access Uber's products practically anywhere at the touch of a button. Uber is available in more than 10,000 cities worldwide. However, there is still opportunity for growth and expansion into more rural areas. Unlike many companies, Uber does not implement traditional mass marketing methods such as television, radio, and paper ads. Alternatively, Uber uses digital marketing techniques such as being active and engaging on social media to market their brand and ensuring it is very recognizable and accessible. Uber also takes advantage of using online coupons such as the New Rider set of coupons. It incentivizes new riders to save money through a set of coupons when they initially use Uber for the first time. Uber's price model differs from standard taxi cab fares as well, where the price of the trip is unknown at the beginning of the ride. Uber gives the customer an upfront price based on the estimated length of the trip. A technique Uber uses to increase profits is called surge pricing. Surge pricing are the inflated prices of rides during certain times where demand is very high. This technique attempts to appeal to more drivers by offering increased potential profits. The consumer has to pay more during these hours, but it is evened out by the Uber's very competitive prices during the down hours. Off to you, Jackie. I think next slide.
All right, so I did the SWOT analysis study, and like other successful companies, Uber has many strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A couple of Uber's strengths are that they are the largest ride-sharing technology in the world. Another strength is that they have very low prices, especially compared to taxis and other commuter companies. Customers would have to pay double or triple Uber's prices to take a taxi where they need to go, and the time of the day also affects that. So if it was later in the evening, you'd have to pay even more. Uber has a very low investment rate, making it easy for new drivers to join their team, simultaneously increasing their active monthly users. Uber also has a rating feature that allows customers to rate the driver and their experience, ensuring quality service as the drivers are always trying to improve their ratings. Another strength that Uber has is they don't need to maintain an employer-employee relationship with their workers. And because of this, Uber is not obligated to pay Social Security taxes, unemployment, or workers' comp, and they don't need to do mileage reimbursement. Some of Uber's weaknesses are that they are dealing with significant losses, as Josie mentioned earlier. They're constantly providing bonuses and incentives to recruit new drivers and keep up with the competition, causing their profits to steadily decrease. Another weakness that they have is that their drivers are unhappy with their profits. In most scenarios, the operating cost is so high that there's hardly any room for a profit. Another weakness is that Uber has many scandals and deals with sexual harassment by their drivers or from their drivers, and their hiring policy during Hurricane Sandy. This resulted in over 500,000 users deleting the app and boycotting Uber. As Josie mentioned earlier, the hashtag delete Uber. One of the company's opportunities is that as we come into a new era of driverless technology, Uber could have driverless vehicles, resulting in a larger profit for the company as they won't need to pay drivers. Another opportunity is that while they are the leading ride-sharing app in the world, they still have many cities to expand into and grow their business. By doubling their employees, Uber can really take control and use this opportunity to their advantage. Another opportunity they have is branching out and transporting things other than people. They have the resources and funding to create a new branch off of Uber and transport animals or pets. While there are many positive things going for Uber, they do face many threats. They constantly battle lawsuits. In just a year, they had over 300,000 lawsuits filed against their company by their own drivers. They're constantly battling the threat of changing laws and regulations in countries where Uber operates. They also deal with a lot of threats of increasing competition and failure to retain customers and employees. Uber faces brand image damage and monetary losses when handling lawsuits from their employees or other companies. And competition is finally starting to catch up. This is forcing Uber to lower their prices to keep up with competitors, and Uber needs to strive and work hard to continue to be the superior choice for customers and have the advantage against other platforms.
Uber is no doubt the most dominant taxi company on the market today. When you think of a way of transportation in any big city, you think of Uber. If Uber is not the option, whether the drivers are all backed up in a long wait or prices may be a little too high for you, then you think of Lyft. Brief history of Lyft. It was originally founded in 2012 as Zimride, and it was a company for students in California for transportation in some of the bigger colleges. And in May of 2013, it was officially changed to Lyft. Lyft is a very similar company to Uber. They provide great drivers with relatively lower costs than taxi drivers and offer other extensive services to their customers. With Lyft being the more weaker competitor with Uber, they are still very similar to Uber's prices, besides Uber being a little bit more expensive in New York and Detroit, respectively. For example, Uber and Lyft prices ranges from $10 to $20 in most areas of the United States, which was calculated by taking a 4-mile drive with each company to determine the costs. Also included in the calculation was a 15% tip. While taxi services are much more expensive than Lyft and Uber in all major regions of the United States, Lyft offers more extensive services similar to Uber through a mobile app, which provides vehicles for hire, scooters, bikes, and food delivery cars. One thing that Uber has the advantage over Lyft is, besides owning double of Lyft shares in the market, is Uber's services across the world, unlike Lyft's services only reach Canada and the United States. Lyft holds approximately 30% of the market share behind Uber, who almost holds all of the other 70% of shares. A little bit about the marketing mix. It is almost identical to Uber, by just the only difference was that they do not have, well, as I previously said, they don't offer services outside of the United States and Canada. For a SWOT analysis of Lyft, they have several strengths. They offer cheap rides to customers while keeping them safe on rides. Lyft also makes sure that the customers can leave a review on drivers, so you almost always know what you're going to get. This allows Lyft to analyze their drivers and keep good and consistent ones while releasing the bad ones. Lyft offers its drivers driver centers where Lyft employees can get their auto repairs on their vehicles at cheaper prices, in which they would provide safer transportation for the consumers. One of the major weaknesses that Lyft has is they aren't a globally renowned company. As I previously stated, they only offer services to the United States and Canada. While this may seem as a big weakness to the company and their market share and market value, this could also be seen as an opportunity for future development. If Lyft can expand their business to other countries and require cheap transportation, they can become a more suited competitor for Lyft. Lyft's main threat is obviously Uber. Since they have the higher market share, Lyft will always be the underdog. And as you can see by this little graph here, it's the little difference between Uber, Lyft, and taxi. There was other additions, West Coast, the Northeast, or the Northwest and Southwest. And they all had very similar price ranges, and Lyft even succumbing Uber in some of the places. But you can see that Uber and Lyft are relatively way cheaper than taxi drives. And a quick little fun fact of Lyft, back in 2015, they had a big trinket in front of most of their cars. It was a big pink mustache, and they deemed it would be unprofessional to businesses, and they discontinued that. Next slide.
All right. Our new innovations marketing objectives. Growth is always a fundamental goal of a successful company. Uber is no exception. They have been trying to expand very rapidly since they were founded in 2009. One of the primary reasons for expansion is the prospect of acquiring new customers and providing a broader service for existing customers. Uber has been focused on large urban centers from the very beginning in San Francisco. Large cities seem like a focus for Uber to grow and expand. However, there is a large untapped market that Uber is overlooking. Smaller towns with populations anywhere between 20,000 and 100,000 appear to be overlooked generally by Uber's expansion model. This could be beneficial to consumers as well. Uber's presence would increase competition, thereby prompting taxi companies to lower their prices. Models have shown that Uber would incidentally increase profits as well with this type of expansion. Small towns such as Marquette, Michigan, that consist of a large percent of college-age students should be a target for Uber. The objectives that would have to be reached based on our SWOT analysis and environmental analysis for our idea to be successful would be amassing enough drivers to be able to launch in the specified geographic area, developing awareness of Uber and its services, building and maintaining a good relationship with customers and drivers, and stimulating demand for the product. Next slide. Pass it off to Josie.
All right, so our new innovation marketing mix. Uber's target market for this new innovation will be segmented geographically, targeting smaller towns, like Connor said, with populations between 20,000 and 100,000. Regarding product, the innovation taking place has little to do with tangible products themselves or even remodeling the current service provided. We are focusing on expansions and incentives needed in order to do so. Regarding a small town such as that of Marquette, Michigan, the demand for an emergency service such as that of Uber does not decrease. Lack of supply is what has kept services such as Uber from establishing success in more rural areas and towns with populations between 20,000 and 100,000. Therefore, it is important to establish incentives such as establishing potential scholarships for drivers in college towns. Moving on to place and promotion. A marketing channel consists of the people, organizations, and activities necessary to transfer the ownership of goods from the point of production to the point of consumption. It is the way products get to the end user. Because Uber has very little tangible product, getting the goods from the point of production to the point of consumption has everything to do with promotion. In order to amass enough drivers to be able to launch in a specified geographic area, promotion should be utilized through social media to create a campaign created by the local universities or community colleges. Not only do students follow these accounts, members of the community do as well, as oftentimes in small towns, universities play a large role within the community. Incentives would be key aspects to promote within the social media campaign to encourage the average student or community member to participate as a driver. A key incentive to promote would be potential scholarship opportunities specifically available to drivers in small towns. This social media campaign would not only serve as promotion for the objective of amassing enough drivers to be able to launch in the specified geographic area, it would also promote developing awareness of Uber and its services. Moving on to our last category, price. A majority of funding would be allocated toward two parts. One, marketing teams in these targeted small town areas to promote these new incentives across a variety of media platforms to ensure that specific objectives are achieved to guarantee success of the program. 2, incentives such as student driver scholarships. Pricing regarding the product/service itself would remain consistent, with potential marginal adjustments based on geographic location. Next slide. And lastly, we will talk about implementation of the new marketing plan. So the first objective plan to turn into action is amassing enough drivers. Uber does not work unless there are drivers with cars available to drive. As discussed, Uber already offers a variety of incentives to attract people to become drivers. To accomplish the objective of gaining drivers in such small college towns, the incentives to focus on regarding this new innovation is student driver scholarships. Uber is already enrolled in the College Achievement Plan through Arizona State University's online program. Every driver who completes 3,000 trips and reaches Uber Pro Gold, Diamond, or Platinum status is eligible for 100% tuition coverage for a first-time bachelor's degree through Arizona State University's online program. Because Uber is already enrolled in a scholarship program with another university, they have the knowledge to implement another successful program. Redistribution of funds from the current scholarship program to the new small town scholarship program's development would ensure success. Working with local universities to provide these scholarships would then lead to promotion of the program through social media campaign that was previously discussed. This campaign would be named Uber Think Locally, Act Globally, and be promoted by universities and Uber itself across platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Once a proper amount of drivers are obtained and enough awareness is raised, rollout of the product and service can begin. A start date would be established and promoted in the initial social media campaigns. On this start date, drivers obtained would start work and be open for business. During the week, drivers would sign up for scheduled times to ensure steady workflow. Uber's presence would increase competition, thereby prompting taxi companies to lower their prices. Once riders realize the convenience of the app, popularity will steadily increase, which will better relationships with customers and drivers, and at the same time stimulate demand for the product. To evaluate if the product and service is doing well, business analytic tools provided by social media platforms could be utilized to evaluate the success of the campaigns. In order for Uber to be successful and maintainable in such a small town like Marquette, it would need to successfully maintain a ratio of 120 app users per driver. This number, adjusted based on the population of the specific town, would set the standard, and the number of app users and drivers in said small town would be consistently monitored. Number of drivers could be increased in accordance with customer demand. That is all for our presentation, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.